On the eve of replacement player games, the season opener has been postponed and the suspense continues. A changing of the guard in Haiti as the fragile democracy continues to bleed. And battling bullets with blazers, boarding schools offer an escape from the dangers of the street.
From NBC News, this is NBC Nightly News, reported by Brian Williams. Substituting tonight is Chuck Scarborough.
Good evening. It is an agonizing evening for fans of the national pastime tonight, but there is now a sign the labor dispute may soon be over. The 1995 baseball season was to officially open tomorrow, but what was supposed to be the first game, which was to be played using replacement players, was suddenly postponed tonight. And the real start of the real season now hinges on a lockout vote by the owners. NBC's Odetta Rogers-Clark has this report.
In Miami and cities across the country, replacement players are gearing up just in case they play ball. The first regular season game had been scheduled to be played here tomorrow until it was postponed. The season hinges on a vote by the owners who meet tomorrow in Chicago. Owners could vote to lock the major leaguers out and go with the replacements, but observers say it will be tough for the owners to come up with 21 of the 28 votes needed for a lockout. Acting Commissioner Bud Selig, owner of the Milwaukee Brewers.
We have to move on and figure out what our next move is.
While the owners have not made a decision yet, some of their lawyers met with lawyers from the Players Association today. They discussed opening day and training camps just in case the owners vote to allow the players back into the game. Also at the union office today, Union Chief Donald Fear.
The players are prepared to go back, and it's a question as to whether the owners will take them back. And I hope and expect that we will be able to work that out and that they'll return.
In Los Angeles today, Tommy Lasorda and other coaches from the Los Angeles Dodgers went to a Little League game.
I just keep hoping and praying that we can get this thing settled and give baseball back to the fans.
The young players agreed.
With the replacement players, there's no point to baseball.
But even if the real big leaguers are permitted to go back to work, even they admit the strike has hurt baseball.
Hopefully the passage of time will teach us both a lesson, the owners and the players, and we need to get this thing done.
The final spring training games were played today, many in big league stadiums with lots of empty seats. That fact has not been lost on either side of this labor dispute. Odetta Rogers-Clark, NBC News, New York.
This is Kenley Jones. For replacement players like Dana Ridenauer, the news that striking players are ready to come back to work comes at the worst possible time.
It's just bad because everyone this close to the season, everyone's got their, hopes up of opening up in the, opening day.
The Chicago Cubs have not announced their replacement roster, but Ridenauer, a pitcher, believes he has made the team.
Man, to play in Wrigley Field, you couldn't beat that. You couldn't beat that.
Hey, ready? Swing!
Before he left his family in Fort Lauderdale for spring training in Phoenix, the 29-year-old Ridenauer thought this might finally be the year he made it to the big leagues. He's been knocking about the minors for 10 years now, never making more than $30,000 a season.
You want to maybe try a conch chowder or Florida fish chowder?
He works as a waiter in the off-season to supplement his income. As a replacement player, he would make $115,000 this season, almost 4 times his minor league salary. But his wife, Tracy, waiting anxiously back home, says a fat paycheck is not what's motivating her husband this year.
I don't really think it's the money. I think it's much more the opportunity to play in the big leagues and have that experience for him.
Ridenauer says it would be best for baseball if the players and owners settled their differences. He just hopes they wait a week or two and let the replacement games begin, allowing him to realize a lifelong dream.
It'll be a chance just to have the game pay me back a little for my effort of 10 years in the minor leagues, and it'd be nice to get some of the the nice meals and the plane rides and the nice cities. That's what I look forward to.
Ridenauer had to leave an intra-squad game yesterday with a sore arm. That on top of the realization that he may not make it to the majors this year after all. For him, a case of adding injury to insult. Kenley Jones, NBC News.
And turning now to the challenges ahead in Haiti. The U.S. military is out and UN forces are in tonight. Their mission helping the Haitian government keep the peace. But with killings on the rise, peacekeeping won't be easy. NBC's Kerry Sanders is in Port-au-Prince for us tonight.
In Port-au-Prince today, U.S. troops loaded pallets with gear and began shipping out.
Hey, all you guys will be boarding a C-141.
We've accomplished what we've come here to do, and we're going to turn it over to the UN and let them do what they need to do.
Yesterday, President Clinton came to Haiti and officially turned the peacekeeping mission here over to the United Nations. 30 countries, including the United States, will now help maintain President Jean-Bertrand Aristide in power. But on this, day one of the United Nations control, a ranking member of the Aristide government is being investigated by the FBI for allegedly masterminding a political assassination. Earlier this week, longtime Aristide opponent Mireille de Rocher-Bertin was machine-gunned to death as she sat in her car. Her family says it's an old story in Haiti, political killings. The only difference, they say now, is who's being killed.
Democracy is being able to express yourself freely and being able to wake up the next morning and going to the store without being afraid of being shot because of something you said the day before. It's not the way it is here.
The U.S. ambassador says it is crucial for the Haitian government to show its justice system works for supporters and opponents.
Anytime you have a high-profile assassination such as this unfortunate event, it simply conjures up all the stereotypes of the past. And it seems to me we've got to move beyond that ultimately if we're going to have democracy here.
It is not only high-profile assassinations that have Haitians uneasy. Last night in Port-au-Prince, a man was shot to death for unknown reasons, a familiar sight in Haiti's violent history. Those sites must disappear if the promise of a better life is to become a reality here, a life where the average Haitian earns only slightly more than $200 a year. In more than one way, life here remains very cheap. Kerry Sanders, NBC News, Port-au-Prince, Haiti.
When NBC Nightly News continues for you in a moment, a new refugee crisis developing in Africa. 40,000 people have set up a squatter camp. And later, unneighborly neighbors. Our moment of the week.
Squids, we got snake big time in Barneyland.
They dream green room.
We sent shore slop.
Holmes, let's get aggro on IBM stick before we get churned. We'll bust the lip, get locked in the barrel, and we won't need a swarmy to keep us from going over the falls.
Are we talking triple concave?
Nectar. All the way.
Pure guava.
These lineups have been totally glassy since they chilled on the SEAL suits.
Arthritis sufferers. Zostrix, the topical pain reliever doctors trust, is moving out from behind the counter. Look for Zostrix and triple-strength Zostrix HP out on store shelves. Physician-strength relief is in your hands.
This year, bring your income taxes to H&R Block and don't worry. Our experienced tax preparers will do the job thoroughly, accurately, and for a reasonable fee. You know you can trust H&R Block.
If heartburn shows up when you lie down, it may not be just heartburn. It may be something different. Doctors call it acid reflux, and you need something different. You need regular Gaviscon. Only Gaviscon forms a protective barrier that helps keep stomach acid down, where it belongs. Mylanta can't, regular Maalox can't. Gaviscon is the only medicine you can buy without a prescription that can. So, to help keep reflux pain from acting up when you lie down, get Gaviscon. It's different from here all the way to here.
In Central Africa tonight, the plight of Rwandan refugees seems unending, with fears growing of more ethnic slaughter. 40,000 Rwandans who had fled the violence in their homeland to neighboring Burundi are now trying to escape another round of violence by heading for neighboring Tanzania. But the refugees are stuck 25 miles from the border because Tanzania will not let them through, and so far, a familiar sight. A makeshift refugee camp, UN relief workers administering meager supplies, and thousands of refugees sitting and waiting and wondering what will happen to them next. There is a ray of hope tonight for the two American prisoners jailed in Iraq. An Iraqi official said today he thinks the case involving the Americans, David Delberti and William Barloon, could be resolved in a few days. Vitamins and other supplies were delivered to them yesterday by a Polish official who said the Americans are in good condition. At a missile silo in the Ukraine today, a visit by the United States Secretary of Defense demonstrated how the once unthinkable has now become ordinary. William Perry was on hand for the removal of this former Soviet missile, whose 6 nuclear warheads used to be targeted at the United States. The Ukraine still has 134 missiles. It promises to ship them to Russia by year's end. And word from Washington today that House Speaker Newt Gingrich plans to hold a two-day retreat for Republican lawmakers later this spring to brainstorm on ways to balance the federal budget. The emphasis will be on how and where to find savings. Now, one area the Republicans are focusing on is the high cost of complying with government regulations. $500 billion a year by one estimate. The Senate next week begins fine-tuning a regulatory reform bill that would reduce that burden by chopping away at federal regulations and making them easier to challenge. But some environmentalists are worried that what may be good for the economy today could be bad for the environment tomorrow. NBC's Robert Hager has a case in point.
11 years into the cleanup of the Chesapeake Bay, the water is purer now. The depletion of crabs has stopped. Striped bass, which had almost disappeared, are back in force. And the loss of sensitive wetlands, 19,000 acres of which were gobbled up by development during the 1980s, has now been slowed, preserving sensitive swamps where waterfowl feed and fish spawn.
But now those who worked so hard to start the cleanup of the bay say that work is threatened. They fear the contract with America could not only stop the effort in its tracks, but might also undo much of what's already been accomplished.
Concerns center on the regulatory reform bill passed by the House, a provision to reimburse property owners for taking from the value of their land, also passed by the House, and an effort to weaken the 23-year-old Clean Water Act, now in committee in the House. One need only look down from a helicopter to see that the bay is still polluted, industrial waste soiling the water, leaving a residue of scum over large areas. Debris from the storm sewers of Baltimore piled up behind a boom. Power plants and other industries pumping pollution into the air, which in turn settles to the water below. The House passed measures would impose stiff requirements for cost-benefit analysis, which environmentalists say would make it difficult or impossible to diminish this pollution, and say that continuing to protect wetlands would become prohibitively expensive if the government had to reimburse property owners for the value of lost development. Will Baker heads a group working to save the bay.
There'll be less fish in the Chesapeake Bay, more pollution, and a lower quality of life for all the people who live around its shores.
But House Republicans argue that avoiding this and continuing the cleanup will cost taxpayers dearly and cost businesses along the bay as well. They question whether the effort has gone far enough. Tough choices now left to the U.S. Senate to debate. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
The performance of first-term Republican members of the House of Representatives will be the topic tomorrow in NBC's Meet the Press, and four of them, including Sonny Bono of California, will be Tim Russert's guests. When NBC Nightly News continues, moving out of harm's way.
He never says he's in pain. He says, I can handle it. But sometimes you can't. When the pain lasts longer than the Tylenol and you've tried the Advil, that's when you see what your doctor recommends.
Introducing Aleve, a non-prescription strength of Anaprox, a fast-acting form of the medicine Naprosyn. Only Aleve has 8 to 12-hour dosing. It lasts longer than extra-strength Tylenol. Advil isn't stronger. New Aleve.
There's nothing I wouldn't do for him.
New Aleve, all day strong, all day long.
I'll never go back to denture pastes or powders again.
Here's why. C-Bond denture adhesive. No other adhesive works like C-Bond, and it holds dentures so tight, so long. C-Bond combines two powerful adhesives into a soft, micro-thin seal that bonds your dentures to your gums, can hold them comfortably all day long.
I'll never go back to pastes or powders.
There's no messy cleanup. C-Bond is so easy to remove. Nothing holds dentures like C-Bond.
You'll never go back to pastes or powders again.
They get cable, spend hundreds on long distance, and buy cigarettes, and you pay the tab for all of it. Are welfare families wasting your money? Watch Dateline NBC all next week.
In focus this evening, teenagers seeking sanctuary from urban violence. A growing number of young people are escaping the violence of the streets by going to boarding schools. NBC's John Palmer has our report.
Happy birthday
17-year-old Rob White celebrating his birthday at home with his family in Washington, D.C. Something he hasn't done for 3 years. Rob is one of a growing number of African-American teenagers who are being sent away to boarding schools as much to keep them alive as to give them a better education. Minority student enrollments have doubled in the past 10 years, driven by a ballooning intercity crime rate. That's what prompted Rob's mother, Deborah, to send her son away.
It's like gambling. You're gambling. You're taking a gamble that this young fellow will make it to be 21. You're kind of trying to tilt the odds in your favor.
Homicide is the #1 killer of young black males. In 1992, the year Rob White went away to boarding school, 50 black males, 18 years of age and under, were killed in the District of Columbia. Nationally, during the same year, the number was 1,020, and the figure continues to climb. Rob, on a visit to his old neighborhood, says he feels safer now that he's away, especially because of what happened to a friend.
He was at a party New Year's Eve, and he got shot, and, it makes me think a lot about, how lucky I am to be able to go away to school because, my mom worries all the time, and, anything can happen when you go out.
Instead of attending the McKinley School in a high-crime area near his old neighborhood, for the past 3 years, Rob has been coming here to the Blue Ridge School in Virginia. It's only a 2.5-hour drive from his old neighborhood, but when measured in terms of safety and opportunity, the distance is much greater. Blue Ridge advertises itself as a boarding school where young men have the opportunity to improve themselves academically, socially, and spiritually. For Rob White, it offers something more, the likelihood that he will be a survivor of the black teenage urban generation that is losing so many members to violence.
Working that pressure enter into the head.
Rob is one of 7 African Americans out of 150 students on campus. A scholarship pays most of his $17,500 a year tuition bill. Some black educators are concerned that minority students from the inner city who are transported to a mostly white prep school like Blue Ridge will lose their identity. Ed McFarlane, headmaster, agrees that's a consideration, but says most parents have a greater concern.
Parents are approaching us because of the safety issues in their communities. The concern is that we're seeing in our admissions operation are guns and knives in the public schools.
Back in Washington, Deborah White still anguishes over her son growing up without her, but she has no regrets.
When you hear about, someone in a random shooting or a drive-by or a child being shot outside of the school and those kinds of things, I say, well, thank goodness, he's away. I can sleep at night.
John Palmer, NBC News, Washington.
And when NBC Nightly News continues for you, next door neighbors with attitude, our moment of the week.
Take a good look through new Transitions Comfort Lenses. The new lightweight plastic prescription lenses with a special tint that lightens and darkens as the light changes. The only lightweight plastic lenses that darken and lighten just like that. It's comfort you can see day or night, inside or outside. Ask for new Transitions Comfort Lenses and see for yourself. They're right in any light.
Ever notice how when you're comfortable, everything feels right? Well, your friends at Depend have been working on comfort. Your comfort. Introducing new Depend undergarments with a cloth-like outer cover. Look, it's softness you can see, softness you can feel. For the most comfortable protection ever from Depend. Protection you trust. New cloth-like comfort. Depend, because you've got a lot of living to do.
Gas. When bloating, pain, and pressure tie you in knots, don't make the antacid mistake. Take this little pill instead. Maximum Strength Phazine. There's more gas relief in one Phazine soft gel than in a whole bottle of regular Maalox. All this Maalox can't get rid of gas, but with the liquid medicine in just one Phazine, the gas is gone. Take Phazine, and the gas is gone.
Today,
Dave Ryan will understand the benefits of a little extra protection. Today, Brady Blackwell will come to appreciate a shatter-resistant shampoo bottle. Today, for the first time in years, Sheena Connor's grandpa will be able to walk with less pain. Today will be a better day for a lot of people, simply because of a material we call plastic.
Now to the children of war and the little girl whose plight came to symbolize the siege of Sarajevo. Her name was Irma, and 2 years ago she was badly wounded by a mortar round that killed her mother. She was trapped in Bosnia. Her suffering touched the hearts of people all around the world, and because of Irma, the UN evacuated some of the worst casualties of the Bosnian War. Irma was taken to London for intensive care, but she developed complications, and today, Irma died in her sleep. She was 7 years old. The woman accused of shooting Tex-Mex music sensation Selena is in a Texas jail tonight facing murder charges. Yolanda Saldivar, who worked for the rising star, surrendered last night to police after a 9-hour standoff. Selena's father suspected Saldivar of embezzlement. Selena was adored by millions of Mexican and American fans, many of them teenagers, who gathered outside her home today. The funeral is Monday. In economic news tonight, the U.S. and Japan are again on a collision course. The subject, as usual, is trade, in this case, automobiles. As NBC's Tom Pettit reports, the tough talk has already started.
In the negotiations next week, the United States position will be very basic. American car makers should have greater access to the Japanese market. This is a long-standing source of friction between Japan and the United States. Last year, Japan exported 1,800,000 vehicles to the United States. Exported to Japan, 91,643 vehicles built in the U.S. by American and Japanese companies. Automobiles account for more than half of the U.S. $66 billion trade deficit with Japan.
To put things in perspective, in 1 week, Japan sends more cars into the United States market than the United States manufacturers send into Japan in an entire year.
Now American political pressure is building to change that ratio.
The Japanese government is very good at protecting the interests of their people and their corporations. Our government has to be just as good at protecting America's interests.
Trade Representative Mickey Cantor said the U.S. is determined to open up the Japanese market.
We're not going to make any threats. We're not going to say we'll leave the table. We're not going to make any demands about where we meet or how we meet or what the agenda is. But we're going to insist that these markets are open.
Japan's auto industry consists of intricately interconnected manufacturers and dealers which have been protected against foreign competitors. Some economists say the U.S. must take countermeasures, sanctions.
It's quite clear that the Japanese are not going to be moved by idle threats. Either we really do intend to restrict their imports or we don't. So far, the answer is that we don't.
American negotiators said this week the U.S. is strongly dissatisfied with the absence of progress. That's diplomatic language for this time we are really upset. Tom Pettit, NBC News, Washington.
Moving Data Strip Mall produced our moment of the week this week. It was yesterday in Dallas when operators of an abortion clinic called A Choice for Women discovered that the anti-abortion group Operation Rescue had moved in next door. The two groups now share space in a 2-story office building, side by side, separated only by a common wall. But this situation may not last very long. The abortion clinic also got word this week of a substantial rent hike. When NBC Nightly News continues in a moment, money and the environment, fighting for funding to save the endangered species.
Cool Whip makes the berries, Cool Whip makes the pie, Cool Whip makes the season a juicy surprise. You know it doesn't take a lot to make the whole thing work. Ooh, that's why Cool Whip makes dessert. Cool Whip makes the berries easier than ever. Cool Whip makes the berries come together. Only Cool Whip makes the whole thing work. Cool Whip makes dessert come together. Come together.
Yet another reason to switch from this freeze-dried to dark, rich Folgers crystals. Folgers looks more like dark, rich ground roast coffee, but the freeze-dried costs about $1 more. Folgers crystals, pocket the difference in an instant.
Look at all these dinners under $10.
Wow, this is great. Every day at Red Lobster, we have 15 dinners under $10.
I don't know what to choose.
Come in now and enjoy this week's special. Our tasty shrimp combo, just $8.99. A large portion of scampi and 10 golden fried shrimp. With bread and salad, it's our shrimp combo, just $8.99, but only for a very short time. This is terrific. Come enjoy the seafood you love tonight at Red Lobster.
They created a personal computer, and the world has been moving at a different speed ever since. They put them into classrooms and created the first generation of computer-literate children. Then they gave computer users the freedom to work anywhere. And now they're ready to take us into the future with the most powerful personal computer Apple has ever made. Where do you find companies that refuse to stop at success? Actually, there's a list of them printed every day. NASDAQ, the stock market for the next 100 years.
Sunday on Today, it's opening day, or is it? Either way, we'll be talking baseball. Also, the hottest tickets coming to a theater near you. Join us Sunday and see what a difference today makes.
Tonight on Assignment Earth, you're about to meet a furry little fellow with a very big problem. The black-footed ferret. It's as endangered as a species gets, and it's losing the battle for survival because it's losing the battle for money. NBC's Roger O'Neill explains.
They are cute as a button, and the rarest mammal in North America, the black-footed ferret. A very endangered species, fewer than 30 are left in the wild. Compare that to a not-so-cute animal, and certainly not rare, the wolf. Thousands live in Alaska, Canada, and northern Minnesota. An endangered species, too, but only in certain places, like Yellowstone National Park.
The federal law which protects and dictates government attempts to try to save a species is animal neutral. But in the case of the ferret and the wolf, the money and effort being spent is anything but. And the ferret is losing.
The future of the black-footed ferret is not going to rest.
An emergency meeting was held in Denver last Wednesday as officials concerned about saving the ferret agonized over where to find $250,000 to keep a ferret breeding program operating.
I don't want us to be facing this every year.
Over the past 7 years, $10 million has been spent trying to save the ferret. $13 million is being spent on wolves, and just to get the animals back into Yellowstone and the mountains of Idaho. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is in charge of spending tax dollars for the recovery of endangered species.
We have to weigh the priorities between species and put our resources to those species where we feel we can accomplish things. It does require us to prioritize.
Can you weigh black-footed ferrets against wolves?
I would not want to.
Private money to save the ferret program this year was found, but with limited resources, tough choices. Decisions which for some animals could result in their extinction. Roger O'Neill, NBC News, Denver.
Well, today, as I suspect many of you have already found out the hard way, is April Fool's Day, a day that by tradition your children and relatives and friends try to make an even bigger fool out of you than usual. But take heart, whatever indignities you've suffered today, odds are you don't live in Fredonia, New York. That's the home of Scott Aldrich's Ice Cream Parlor. Scott plays April Fool's jokes by tinkering with the flavor of his ice cream. In years past, he surprised his customers with scoops of chocolate spaghetti ice cream, bacon and egg ice cream, sauerkraut vanilla. Today's flavor, nacho cheese. Enjoy your dinner. That's NBC Nightly News this Sunday. Giselle Fernandez will be here tomorrow night. I'm Chuck Scarborough in New York. And this reminder for you, daylight saving time begins tomorrow. Turn your clocks ahead 1 hour at bedtime. For all of us at NBC News, good night.
NBC News, now more than ever.
Sunday, the new Congress. What have they accomplished? We'll ask 4 new GOP members, Sonny Bono, J.C. Watts, Sue Myrick, and Roger Wicker on Meet the Press with Tim Russert Sunday.
How far will a mother's love go?
I was going to lose my son, so I kidnapped him.
Now she's in hiding, and only one person can help her.
I'll testify that you're a great mother.
Hill Street Blues' Joe Spano and Wonder Years' Dan Lauria join Academy Award winner Patty Duke.
Think about what's right for that boy.
Amazing Grace, premiering NBC tonight.